So I have to tell you that I'm really tired this morning. Um, I I'm actually wasn't up to creating a new Dharma talk, and Nelly's sick this morning. So my usual reliability of us creating something together is not a condition for me this morning. Um, and I really miss having her to bounce my our ideas off of each other. And it's really a different kind of endeavor, teaching with somebody else, co-teaching. Um, so anyway, in 2020, we chose this topic of transitions. So I'm going to stay on that. I went back to our document and we taught it in 2020. I think I just said that. I am tired, you all. Um, uh, and 4 years ago, so I went back to it and looked and see if could I lift anything from the time that we gave our talks then. And that's really the thing. In some Buddhist traditions, Dharma teachers give the same talk over and over again. It's actually a way to repeat themselves. It's a kind of learning, and that becomes something like a bedtime story that you hear again and again about the Dharma. But we're kind of the opposite. We create a new Dharma talk each time we speak, each morning. Who's ever talking is writing something new. And we use the stuff of our lives and our experiences and what's happening now in the present moment. That's really the material for our Dharma talks. And that's our path, mining our current experience for the Dharma that's embedded in it. And we hope this nudges you to do the same with your experiences. They're complex, to look more deeply into them and see the Dharma teachings within your own experience. So I'm going to bring in a term that we talked about then. It's a Tibetan term called Bardo, and it's taught as a transitional state. The topic. Here we are. I actually could put those things together, but a transitional state, a liminal state between life and death. And this concept rose really soon after the Buddha's death. And it comes from the Vedic traditions, the Vedic Upanishadic tradition in India. But it was later expanded into Tibetan Buddhism to become a whole system. The Bardo is quite a complex system. But metaphorically, the Bardo can also be used to describe times in life where the usual way we live becomes suspended. So, for example, during a period of illness, life doesn't continue exactly the same as our usual ways. Or during a meditation retreat, we're not in the same life that we normally live. Things are suspended. And as we know, the pandemic was also one of those times of life as we knew it, wasn't happening. So it's not just a reference, this term Bardo is not just a reference to the afterlife. Um, we looked up on Mrs. Google and she says another thing about it, and I'm going to quote what we read, what we found. The Bardo can also refer more generally to the moments when gaps appear, interrupting the continuity that we would otherwise project onto our lives. And in American culture, we sometimes refer to this as having the rug pulled out from under us or feeling ungrounded. These interruptions in our normal sense of certainty are what is being referred to by Bardo. But to be precise, Bardo refers to the state where we've lost our old reality and it's no longer available to us. So this morning, my mind went to a list, kind of, oh, that's happened to me quite a few times during my life. And January 6th is on the list. The pandemic is on the list. January 6th, 2021, which is, however many years ago. I still remember when that happened. It was on a DOM call. We were just getting off the daily online meditation when the January 6th insurrection happened. Um, but on my list this morning, my sister appeared, and my sister Mary, my youngest sister, and she died 30 years ago from suicide. And I saw a picture of her last week, and it's a picture that I had never seen of her. And she's been like hovering around me ever since. So I was thinking about, what do I mean by hovering? And really, when I have a little extra time to myself in my meditation, mostly, her image comes to mind. And it seems to be a kind of liminal space where we get to meet and interact. And I have, access to the thoughts and memories of not getting to know her as an adult, remembering how her death took me. It was another turn towards Buddha Dharma, towards finding a more individualized spiritual path, which I found in reflective meditation. And this morning, when I was thinking about her, I feel like she's on her way out, like that kind of like I can't really touch that picture anymore. It's becoming even vague just since a week ago. And the memories are kind of thwarted because they were short. I don't have a lot of memories of her because she died young. Um, so I don't really know what happens when we die, and I don't really want to speculate. But one thing that I frequently hear with people talking about life and death is the hope that when we die, we'll be reunited with loved ones. And I hear that commonly. And so it's interesting, you know, or reunited, like get to see them, get to be with them in some way. But it's interesting that that's already happening now in my meditation. I'm already feeling the relationships continue and the visits and things like that. So I found myself wanting to make some kind of grand statement about this, but I'm really too tired to do so. So I'm going to leave it there. We will do our practice together today, and we'll sit for